boys and girls. Today we are going to work on language, lesson 135 and 136. Everything for this lesson is going to be due on Thursdays, so the research report, the final draft, should be submitted to me by Thursday, Friday the latest, okay? So lesson 135. For this lesson, you're going to be finishing up your final draft. So if you need to revise the work to make sure that you have everything that you need, you could go back to pages 231 and pages 238 through 241. Those are the pages that are going to let you know if you have everything that you need up to this point. So that's basically everything for lesson 135, which is the final draft. For lesson 136, this is where you guys are supposed to be now, is the step 5 of your writing process. So at this point, you should have your illustrations, and I had told you that you needed to have a cover for your report, and you also needed to have another illustration in your report that basically said something about the person that you are talking about, that you writing your research report about. So for this, if we look at the pages that you have, page 233, it says using the writing process to write a library research report. So up to this point, you have put your paper, you needed to put it in the right order and in your decorated folder. Because we are not here in school, do not worry about your folder. Let's worry about the content that you need to have. So you need to have a title page. And if you look on page 234, it gives you an example of a title page of what it should look like. So you need to have your title page, you need to have your illustrations, you need to have your final outline. So the final outline, I gave you an example of that on lesson 128. So if you look in your folders, you should have that paper and you should see, you're going to be able to see how that final outline looks like. You're going to have your final draft of your report. You're going to have your selected bibliography that we talked about that in the previous lesson. You're going to have your checklist page. And if you have other drafts, you could have them there as well. For the example of your final draft of your report, if you look through pages 238 through 242, if you look through those pages, you're going to see the example on how the final report should really look like. So make sure that you see that so that you could have a good idea of if you're doing it correctly. If you're seeing the example, make sure that yours kind of looks that way. So it says here, if we read on number 2 on page 233, it says number the pages. So it says if you were talking, let's say if you're talking about her childhood or his childhood, depending on who you're writing about, make sure that the first page of that information has a number page. You need to number. So for every page with a title, number the pages in the bottom center of the page. Number the rest of the pages at the top in the center. Do not number the title page and outline pages. So you're gonna number basically all your report except your title page and your outline. So wherever you write all your information about the person, including the bibliography, that last page, that should be your bibliography, you're gonna number everything except the title, your first page, and the outline. And if you look, it tells you here, if you look to pages 234 to through 143, it gives you an example on how the numbers, where do they need to be and how does the actual page look like, okay? And when you finish everything, then is when you will submit everything to me, okay? If you see that your report is nice and neat and ready, then you go ahead and I'm gonna add it in Google Classroom, that final draft, and then on Thursday, you could go ahead and submit that to me. If you feel that you are not sure about something or you don't know if this is looking correct, you could always send me the paper ahead of time and I could look over it, and or we could connect and through the video, the Google Meet, and see what your questions are, and I could go ahead and address that individually if anyone needs that help. But for this right now, for lesson 135 and 136 is basically your final draft, and lesson 136 is you putting your report together. So make sure that you read the pages 233. Let me look at my notes. 233, 234, and 243, so you could follow that. And page 234, it tells you how does your title page need to look like, okay? So it says the title of the report, the day that you're submitting the report, and your name, okay? This is all for lesson 135 and 136, and like I said before, is writing your final draft and making sure that you're putting all your report together the correct way. Please look back at the pages from previous lessons and make sure that you're following the examples on how those pages need to be looking like. Thank you.